Good evening. All right, so my name is Akram Khatir. I'm the director of the Moise Khayrallah Center for Lebanese Diaspora Study here at NC State. On behalf of the Khayrallah Center, the Film Studies program, and the Middle East Studies program at North Carolina State University, I would like to welcome you here tonight with us. It is truly a privilege for us to be here because the director is going to be joining us, and actually he will be introducing the film for a couple of minutes before we screen the film altogether. Just a brief comment about it. First of all, Philippe Aractanji, who is one of the foremost directors, film directors in Lebanon, this is his third feature-length film. Some of you may have seen his previous films. One is called Bosta, or The Bus, but more likely you may have seen another film called Taht al-Asf, or Under the Bombs, which we screened here actually at one of our film festivals. And I'm proud to say that this is only the third city in the United States in which we are screening this film. The other two are New York and San Francisco. So I think Raleigh has moved up. Anyway, Philippe's career spans over many decades, if you will. He started making films when he was 17, and he continues to make films. Although he makes documentaries as well as some commercial films, his passion is really in storytelling and film media. And tonight we will be screening, obviously, his film, Mirath, which translation is The Heritage. And it is an autobiographical film, but I will also let him talk a little bit more about that. The film is about an hour and a half, so I'll talk a little bit about the mechanics. It's about an hour and a half, so exactly an hour and 36 minutes. And at the conclusion of the film, we'll have a Q&A. So you'll have an opportunity to ask Philippe about his experience in the filmmaking, some of the scenes, some of the meaning of the film, and we'll do that for about half an hour. So in total, we'll be here about 2 hours. Thank you so much again for being here. It's really our privilege, and I hope you will enjoy the film. And now it's my privilege to introduce Philippe Aractanji.
Hi there. Thank you. Thank you, Akram. I wanted to say that it's an honor for me to be here. And thank you, Akram, for inviting us, for inviting me, actually. Just a few words to tell you that this is a, I wouldn't say an experimental film, because experimental film means boring film. This is an experimental film which is not boring. It's a different type of film, so don't expect anything, just be open to something different. It may be a documentary, it's closer to a documentary than a fiction, but it's not purely a documentary. So be open to see something new. I thought of making this film in 2006 when the war started between Lebanon and Israel, or the Hezbollah and Israel. And I thought I should do something. I was compelled to do something, and I didn't know what to do. And we left Lebanon in 2006 to go and live in France. And a year later, my daughter, who didn't understand why we were in France, asked me, why did we leave, and why did we leave our country? Why are we staying in France now? And I started telling her that there were a war, and she was 5 years old, and I realized very quickly that she wouldn't understand what war means. And she definitely, I didn't know where to start, because if I would tell her the war started in 2006, maybe the explanation was not enough. Maybe she needed to know more. I mean, do we explain the relationship between Israel and Lebanon in 2006, or do we start before? So I was compelled to do this film, and I started to do this film for her. But then after 12 minutes of film, the first chapter, it's written within 7 chapters, I stopped and I wondered, who cares about my own story, an autobiographical story about me and my child and so on. So I stopped, and I was scared to do this film. And then I showed it to many other Lebanese, but also non-Lebanese, and I'm curious to know for the non-Lebanese what you think, actually. The film, and a lot of people told me, this is not your story, this is our story too. We also left our country, we also lived exile, and we all have this kind of wondering and also questioning about identity and nation. So this is why I did the film. In a way, it's showing my life to everybody. In that sense, I wouldn't say, I hope you enjoy the film, I would say more, ahla wa sahla, and welcome. Thank you.
Okay, one last thing. Out your cell phone and turn it off. Not airplane mode, nothing. Just turn it off. Because, and there's no photography, please, of the film or anything of the sort. So please respect that. And we don't want any ringing or text messaging during the process. So again, just take a couple minutes, take out your phone, make sure it's completely off. We will all survive for a couple hours, I'm sure. Thank you again so much for being here with us. So we have a bit of time. Can you all hear me or no? No? How about now? Oh, okay. So we have a bit of time to talk with Philippe about the film, about things that you thought about during the film, about how he made the film, why he made the film. For those of you obviously of Lebanese heritage, I'm sure there are a lot of emotions that are roiling within you after you've seen many of these scenes that are very familiar. So we would like to open up for questions and answers. And the way it's going to work, we have about half an hour. You'll ask a question, and I would like to repeat the question just to make sure that everybody hears it. And also, we are capturing it up on video, so that would be, and then Philippe will answer the question. Okay, so we're open. Go ahead.
Usually people don't have a question straightforward.
All right. We'll give them time. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead. I think somebody needs to give you the microphone. Yeah.
تفضلي بالعربي.
أول شيء ثانك يو فيلم بياخد العقل. فيليب أنت حبيت ترجع وقدرت. نحن حابين نرجع، شوزي كل يوم بقول لي بدي أرجع على مصر بس ما قدرانين، شو بنعمل؟ لازم تعمل لي فيلم للعالم اللي ما قدرانة ترجع.
خليني ترجم. Okay, before Philippe can answer that, I would like to sort of translate. So, first of all, for those of you who don't speak Arabic, she thanked Philippe for making the film, which she thought was brilliant. But she asked a very poignant question. She said, you made a film about those who can go back to Lebanon, but what about a film for those who cannot go back to Lebanon? Philippe?
I mean, according to my wife, we should go back to Lebanon. So, it's, and I don't have an answer to whether one should go back or not. I do not have an answer for that. And I don't advise people to go back, neither not to go back. It's a personal question. One has to work on it by himself. I know that the film made me put the question aside. And by doing the film, I understood more what I was suffering from. From, whatever, I mean. From. It's good. And what I do know is that it's important to not to cut with our past, not to make a cut, a straightforward cut. It's important to know where we come from, what's the past. It's important to give that knowledge to the kids, to our children, and not to live a life where we think we're living it so that our children will not have to suffer anymore, so that many of those who leave Lebanon or who leave countries where burdens, war or whatever, they feel that they are, how do you say, forgot the word, they are suffering, or they are, don't know how to talk anymore. كمان عم بيضحوا.
Sacrificing.
They're sacrificing. Yeah, the word is not difficult, but I just forgot about it. They're sacrificing their life for their children, and it's not very, very positive thinking, because sacrificing your own life, so it's important not to sacrifice completely, to think that you still have a relationship with your country, and to give your children a relationship to that country of origin. Because if you cut completely, your child might come back to Lebanon and search for something you never gave him. So this is, I did this film so that we can transmit to our children what we've been through. The best way is to do it. A book being through. But transmitting is very, if you have to stay, it's not me who thinks this way, it's my research with many psychoanalysis, that it's important to transmit what you've been through. I don't know if I've answered your question, but yeah.
Another question, there was, let me give it to her first, and I'll give it to you, Ghada.
Thank you very much. That was very wonderful movie. My question is this suffering gonna end one day?
This suffering,
yeah.
So I don't know, did everybody hear the question? Right, so if the suffering is going to end one day.
That's a wide question. I don't think we're in a region of the world where it's going to carry on like this for a few years, I'm sure. Now, we have to live with it, we have to fight against it. My way of fighting is making film. The Dalai Lama, when you ask him what can we do against the Chinese, he says all you can do is raise consciousness. I think the best way to fight is to raise consciousness, and one way of raising consciousness is making films. So the way of stopping this is to make people understand, and this is what I've been doing. But is it going to stop? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have that answer neither. Actually, I'm answering with all the questions you're asking. I'm answering, I don't have that answer.
It's okay, Philippe. We don't either, so it's all right.
Philippe, we enjoyed the film very much, and you made us cry. I was crying, my neighbor was crying.
I'm sorry about that.
Do you have any regrets when you took the decision to move back to Lebanon, and now that all your family is in Lebanon, do you have any regrets?
True.
You know, in one way I feel much better by being in Lebanon. You know, I was sick being in France personally, and I knew I couldn't give the best of myself being in France. I'm also somebody who considers his job as a, I wouldn't say a duty, but it's a very hard work to make films in Lebanon. We're not helped by the government. We don't, I mean, people like me, there aren't many. I mean, there are maybe 3 Lebanese filmmakers who make films that are seen abroad, elsewhere than in Lebanon. So we're not a lot of people, but I know that by doing films, sometimes I get so much rewarded by seeing people enjoying the film, not only enjoying, like for instance, this film was used by so many parents. They didn't know how to tell about their own story to their children. And they've used this film to come with their children to talk about their own childhood with their own kids. And it was very important. So these films are sometimes useful. I feel like I'm doing something useful. And doing so while living in France was not satisfying enough for me. Also, I was a filmmaker that was successful in France, but I was making films for French people. And I wasn't very happy, you know, not to do something for my own country. So for me, being back in Lebanon, working for the Lebanese, is something that I feel very rewarding. And in that sense, I do not have any regrets. I don't have regrets either for my kids in the sense that living in a country where everything is unstable is not necessarily negative. I mean, we've lived in an environment which is unstable, and we became fighters. We became survivors. So that type of education is not necessarily negative. I do have sometimes regrets because there is as the lady was asking, is it going to end? There is nearly no hope, and we can't see the end of it. And sometimes I feel desperate and tired, and that probably my sons and daughter feel it also with me. So yes, sometimes I do have these questions, but should I come back to France? I don't think so, no. Shall I widen the spectators for my films? This is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm here. I'm trying to make the public, the people who will see my films, more than the Lebanese who are living in Lebanon, but also French people, but also Americans, but also people from abroad and the diaspora also, because I think it's important.
I just want to add something really quick before the next question. What Philippe was saying about filmmaking in Lebanon is really quite true. I was kind of joking last night about the $4,000 that the Ministry of Culture promised him. It took him 2 years to get from them. So I think one of the things that what Philippe is doing and what other artists as well, may I say historians, are doing, which is to preserve these memories. I think one of the things that we in the diaspora can do is certainly to support them, their efforts in terms of filmmaking, and to allow them access to these international venues. So I think if you're interested, by the way, in helping this, because certainly the Lebanese government does not help at all, you should have a conversation with Philippe about ways in which you can contribute to this process. Next question.
Philippe, thank you so much. This was one of the best movies I've ever watched. I should say documentary. I also watched Khayrallah. And I really appreciate you taking this approach to the movies and kind of documenting our lives and what we lived through. I've lived through the war in Lebanon, and I went with you on this journey and this movie. It was really touching. Thank you very much for that. I have basically two questions. The first one is, can you comment on, when I watched the movie, I went through an emotional turmoil with you in the movie. So can you comment on what that made you feel making the movie and talking about your life and going through that with your children, and wondering how that will affect them? And two, if you can comment on how was this movie received, not by the Lebanese, more by the other, internationally in the community, internationally, this view of Lebanon and what has happened there. Thank you.
Did everybody hear?
Oh.
Okay, so can you hear now? Okay, so really it's a two-part question. One is a question about asking Philippe to talk about the emotions that he went through as he was, pulling together this film, filming it, editing it, and so on and so forth. So she really would like him to explore more what he went through in the process. And the second is the reception of the film, not necessarily amongst Lebanese, but amongst international audience. How did they receive this film?
Remind me of the second, because it's a long answer. First of all, it's a cathartic film. It's a film that you do, it's a journey. For me, it's not a story. I don't see this film as a story, and this is why I was saying in the beginning of the film, of the Q&A, of the presentation, that it's something different. It's really a journey. It's quite something to go back to all the pictures that you have done, all the videos that you have done with your kids, all the films that your father has done about yourself, all the images that were done about the country you live in, and look at them and then put them in a film and edit them. It's like resetting, looking at all your life and doing a reset. That's the feeling you have. Now, while doing the film, I was wondering whether I should do it or not all the time. It took me 4 years to do the film, 4 years and a half to do the film. 2 years full time, but 4 years and a half to manage to bring in the money and to think of how. And the film was not easy to sell because it's neither completely a documentary nor a fiction. It's a genre which doesn't exist. So it was difficult to sell. And I was wondering, the main question was whether I should show this, I should show the past to my children, I should let them go through this or not. So I went to see a lot of psychoanalysts and people who are in this domain. And one of them was Boris Cyrulnik, who's very famous for French people. Boris Cyrulnik did a lot of work on memory. And when he saw the film, he said, you did what when he saw the first chapter, I showed him the first chapter, the first and the fourth chapter, I think, the one with the bullets. He said, you did something that I couldn't do. And I said, what did I do that you couldn't do? And he said, he grew up with in the Second World War. He was 8 and he was Jew. And he was taken with one of the rafl, when they take the Jews to the camps. And he ran out of one of these things. I don't know exactly his story, but I know that he ran out of it. And he came back to his family and he started telling his story, or to the people he knew. And he started telling his stories, and the people didn't believe him. They told him, you're a child, you're completely nuts. Stop saying, stop talking, just stop talking. And he stopped talking. He never told his story to anybody except his wife. He never said that to his children. And one day, his daughter, when she grew up, she was going to become an academic, and she changed direction, and she became a filmmaker and a theatrical director. Anyway, and he says a filmmaker is like a god because he invents life again, which I liked as a definition because I like to see myself as God. You have God in front of you. Anyway, so he went to see one of the play that she did, and he saw a scene that he lived when he was a child, but he never told the story to his daughter. And he says, tout ce qui n'est pas dit se transmet. Everything which is not said is given anyway. I mean, the child will see your wound even if you don't talk about it. He will see it, he will feel it, he will understand it. So it's important to discuss, to talk about the past. This is what I was saying in the beginning. But he said the best way is not to do it frontal, in a direct way. Like I've lived through, I went through a trauma, I take my child and I tell him my trauma. No, the best way is to do it the indirect way, through the third party, what he would call the third party. Third party is eventually talk to a historian in front of your child of what happened to you. Third party is, the best third party is art. And the best of the best is children play in the metaphorical sense and in the proper sense, play the role of their ancestor. Instead of telling the story of my grandmother, I asked my daughter to play my grandmother. And that was the best way. So the film was really a way of transmitting my past. And it was, in that sense, cathartic, and it was important. Also, and as I said in another answer, this film became in Lebanon, and that comes to the second question, this film became for a lot of parents and even a lot of children a cathartic way of talking about the past. So you have 25,000 people, which is quite a lot for a documentary in Lebanon, who went to see this film using it for a discussion. A lot of people came to me and said, I went out of the film and went to my room and took out the bullet. He had a suitcase full of bullets, the same one that I had, not in a suitcase. I heard a lot of parents who told we brought kids to see the film, even kids who brought their parents for a second reading of the film to see the film. So it was an important element for memory, specifically that we don't have memory. And I'm saying it at the end of the film, we don't have a book of history in Lebanon. So it was an important element. Now I know that the Lycée Français and all the schools around the Lycée Français, which are 40 schools, are using this film as a obligatory program. You know, every year they're going to show this film and discuss around this film. So for me, I'm very proud of having done this film. And I was very scared because I was showing everything about myself, about my life, you know, to everybody. I'm nearly naked, not completely. So regarding the rest of the world, I know it's going to be distributed in France next year, I mean this year, in probably April, so I'm waiting to see. I've shown it in different festivals. I've shown it in San Francisco, in New York. It's funny, different type of reactions. In San Francisco, we had a lot of Americans. I mean, you have to tell me what you think about the film, who were very much related to the film. I had a Japanese woman who came to me and said, my father, I'm half Japanese, half American, and my father, I know he has a lot to say about what he's gone through, but he doesn't speak. How can I make him speak? And that was very interesting for me. A lot of people who were binationaux, half American, half whatever, they were very much, they related to the film a lot. In New York, they were laughing all the time. I don't know why. It's not a funny film, but they were laughing all the time. So it's really different, but at the same time, people relate to it. This is what I feel. At least people who comes to me, this is what they tell me. You know, there are some people who went out. You don't know whether they like the film or not. I don't know.
There was a hand.
There were a question with the lady over there. Yes. I did answer the question.
Right.
So in the movie, it looks like the children learned really well with this bicultural origins. They seem to get this with the different cultures. I was wondering how did they reach that stage, and has it always been that way, or they had more some like identity crisis at some point?
They didn't have identity crisis as such. Their parents have identity crisis. They felt it through their parents. But it's true that the film helped them a lot to think about it and say it out loud, you know, this problem of being both French and Lebanese. I feel that they're not Lebanese yet, since they still speak very much French, even in Lebanon. The language issue is very important, but that's not necessarily, doesn't have to do with my children only. I mean, a lot of Lebanese speak different languages up to the point that they don't speak Arabic anymore. We did a lot of efforts. It was quite expensive to move on every summer back to France so that they keep their friends in France, because it was important for my wife that they stay French. And I understood that, and we did all our efforts to do that. Now we are in between, and each time we talk about the future, I try not to say you will be in Lebanon, nor to say you will be in France, just to keep it open as much as possible. Voilà.
Questions? Any more questions from the audience? Okay. Okay, I'll be back to you in just 1 second. Can I give him the question first?
It's somewhat of a statement than a question. It seems to me this really just looks at the American experience, in which everybody in this room is an immigrant, comes from an immigrant family. And so I think it would be very appropriate for Americans to see this film. And particularly where our first generation often has difficulty adapting. The second generation, much as the kids made the comment, they feel more comfortable in France, they feel more comfortable in the new country. Questions, first off, if we wanted to see this again, will there be some distribution in the United States, or could we buy a copy of it? And secondly, what do you think the kids will do when they reach adulthood and they make their own decisions?
I've shown it to 2 distributors in New York. I've shown it to 2 distributors in New York. We're currently discussing with some. I know that one of them did love the film and want to distribute it, but he still wants the opinion of his boss, so I'm waiting for answers. I'm also showing it to different distributors in the US. I'm sure the film will resonate differently here because of the reasons you just mentioned, the fact that everybody is from somewhere in this country. So I will soon let you know whether it's distributed in the US or not. So far there is no DVD. They might, if you want to go and click on the website, on our website, on Fantascope Production, or you want to maybe like the heritage page on Facebook, we will surely update you on what's going on, whether it's going to be distributed in the US or not. You had another question, I can't remember. Yes, what would the children do? I think the children are relieved. I mean, the metaphor of the bags that we throw away at the end of the film with the montgolfière, you say montgolfière? Hot air balloon is very important. I think, you know, at the end of the film, I say the past is like suitcases that you inherit. And once you know about the past, then you decide what to take as a suitcase with you and carry on. And the fact that we did this film, we made them unconsciously decide that they're not going to take the suitcase of their parents, at least. So they're lighter than we are. And I'm sure that their decisions later on will be less of a decision made by guilt or by duty, but more as a free person. I think we made them lighter. I'm not saying I think, I can see them. I know that my son, and he says it in the film, he says, I wanted to create a machine and go back in your past and live like you lived. Now that I see what you've been through, I don't want to go back into your past. And the fact that he is lighter than I am, he is not related to me, not at least with my heavy bags, will make him do better decisions than maybe I did. Maybe most of my decisions were out of guilt, out of duty for my country, out of duty to my parents. Maybe I didn't do all the decisions I made in my life as a free man. I think this is why I decided to do this film, to explain what all the Americans' films, the opposite of what all the Americans' films says, that we are free and we make our own destiny and we are heroes. No, we are not free. And we do not make our own destiny by ourselves. I think this is not completely true. It is partly true, but not completely true. At least when you come from these kind of countries. It's a big statement what I just said. Sorry, guys.
I want to know what happened.
In the microphone.
I want to know what happened with the live ammunition, first of all. Did you keep it? Did you get rid of it?
I didn't know what to do with it, because if I get rid of it, somebody else will use it. So I didn't know what to do with it. I asked a few friends, where can I throw them and completely destroy them? And I didn't have any answer. So far, they're still there. They're still there. And I wanted to do an exhibition with the release of the film. I'm very ambitious with my film, so I want to do an exhibition at the same time the release, do like Lucas Films, a lot of products and so on. But I finished by doing just the film. So I kept them in case I wanted to do an installation with them. But then I didn't do the installation. If I have the means, I will still do the installation with these things. That's the first time somebody asked me this question. Yeah. Very interesting. I would wonder, why did you think about it? Yes. What did you do with the props? Yes.
And also, when you were talking about your parents talking to you or your grandparents letting you know what happened during their lifetime. My dad came over in 1912. He was a teenager. And now I wonder why, what happened that he left that country. If his parents were still living, I have no idea, because when you're young, you don't ask your parents these questions and you don't talk to them about it. But now I wish I had, because I'd like to know what he was going through before he came to America.
I know these questions are very recurrent. The genealogy sites are very much are sites that people, especially in the U.S., are sites where people go a lot because they want to know where they come from and what their parents and grandparents have been through. Because, as I said, we, at one point in our life, specifically when we get older, we feel that we needed to understand where we come from. It's there is a say in French, they say, un passé, difficult to remember. Yeah, le passé sans histoire est un futur sans avenir, which means a past without history is a future with no avenir. Avenir is what? Future. A future without hope or without, something to build on. So you need to know the past so that you can build the future, specifically when you're going to a future which is an unknown, which is death. This type of film, usually people do it when they're 80. I've done it when I'm 50. I'm 50 now. And I've done it because I felt that, the hard disk, my memory, was too filled with too many things I couldn't bear with going further in my future. It was too much. I've lived through so many things. I've been through war. I was a war reporter when I was 16. I did my first film when I was 21, and I've seen so much. I needed to reset the machine. And also I felt that it was important for my kids not to take all the burdens that I've been through. It was very important. So yes, it's important to know about the past. And because we don't know about the past, there is a new trend for psychoanalysis. It's psychogenealogy. It tells you that if your father or your grandfather have been through something that he didn't cope with, he died without resolving the problem with his wife, with his son, or whatever, with his life, he will give it in inheritance to his children. And they might take it without even knowing. They might take the same problem and do it again, as a scene. And it's proven that you take the problems. For 5 generations, we've been, none of my grandparents or parents were born and died in the same place. And when I was taking the boat to go to France, I realized that I was doing exactly the same thing. So maybe I was repeating a scheme that was in my genes or in my grandparents' heritage. And I needed to solve this. I needed to understand it so eventually I don't give it as an inheritance to my children. I'm giving you a wider answer to your question, maybe.
I will finish with Moise, who will get the last question. So let me get the microphone to you.
Really, thank you. This was wonderful. Yeah, I'm slightly older than you are. I just lived through some of the stuff that you talked about here. One of the things that popped up, I believe when you were talking about your father and grandfather, is this idea that I see recurring in a lot of Lebanese authors or, in your case, filmmakers, about this being Levantine, being a person who is kind of a link between the East and the West.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it recurring in a lot of our writers. is that unique to the Lebanese authors and filmmakers? Is it something, is that how you feel as well? And how do you feel about that? Is that a theme that you see a lot, that you're conscious of?
It's not a theme, it's an identity. I feel like, yes, I am a Levantine. I think that the Lebanese are very much Levantine because the Armenians are also very much Levantines. They've always been there to translate the Muslim word to the West because they understand it better. That comes to the Christians, but also to the Muslims who are in Lebanon, because somebody in Lebanon told me we were born خلقنا على خط تماس. We were born in a شو بتقول خط تماس بالإنجليزي؟
Line of separation.
Life separation.
Line of separation.
Line of separation with the others. The others being either, if I'm Muslim, the other would be the Christian, or the others would be the Muslims, or the Druze, or whatever. We are born, and I believe in, not karma, but I believe in sort of destiny. If I was born in Lebanon, that therefore there is a meaning for it, therefore I should do something about it. Not just ignore the other and leave him. Just know more about him, and eventually translate his language to the rest of the world. And this is the true nature of a Levantine.
Thank you again so much for being with us tonight. We really appreciate you being with us here tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again at future events. Have a good night and have a safe drive.